Hi students, this is Heather. I kind of wanted to go over observation assignment. So please know what semester you're in because every semester I do change the options of the assignment. So for our semester we're going to have 4 options. I'm going to go over that in a minute, probably in a separate video. Right now I want to kind of go over formatting of the paper. So the observation paper, you're really going to be looking at, the first thing you're going to start off with is an APA title page. So your APA title page, I'm going to show you a sample from another class, but it'll still work. So this right here is how we would start the paper off. So this is what we call our running head. So please note that the R is capitalized, the H is not, everything else is lowercase. Then you have these little dots right there and a space. And then you're going to have your title in all capital letters. Now for our class, it would be something like observation assignment, maybe observation paper, interview paper, whatever you want to label it is fine with me. Now please note, usually APA does not want on the title page the number. I will not dock you for it, but just note that APA, usually you're not going to put the number on the first page, which is the title page. Then you're going to put all your key information. So you're going to put your name, you're going to put the assignment title, the course name. Sometimes you can put my name, I don't mind. You can put the date of it. Then you're going to come down to what we call, this is called the header. So the header is basically your title. Please note that running head is not there. It's going to be your title. So maybe it's observation assignment. It needs to be all capital letters. And technically on APA, then you would start your number system. Now another key thing, what I actually do like too, is if you put your last name right here next to the number, you need to have 5 spaces in between, but you want to have like your last name. So in case anything falls apart or things are getting complicated, I would know whose it is. Now also here, this is what we call a subheader. I really in particular like subheaders. I think it's very helpful for students to kind of make sure that they're getting all the key information that the instructor wants, but every instructor is different. So for our class, you could put something like introduction, and you can kind of do subheaders like that. So I'm going to go back to our guidelines to kind of help you through the rest of the paper. So that was the APA title page. Now remember, these little headers are kind of nice. So you can do something like introduction. What you really want to talk about in the introduction is all about the person that you're interviewing or doing observation on. So it will depend on which one you pick. So you're going to give some background information, so things you want to know about like the topic you're picking on. So if you're picking the one on the child, like the preschool age child, you're going to be focusing on fine, gross motors, and cognitive skills. So what you need to kind of connect the textbook and PowerPoints, whichever one you want to do, to the particular observation you're doing. So if you're doing the adolescents, you're going to be picking something about like brain development, risky behaviors, things like that. So you're going to connect it to the textbook, kind of give you like a general introduction. You're going to cite it in APA, of course. I want a couple things in there. Then I want you to tell me why you picked the person that you're doing your interview or observation on. So if you pick the younger kids, give me information about them, connect it to fine motor, gross motor, cognitive development with that age. So that's how you can cite the textbook and PowerPoint to get stats in there. If you're picking the adolescent, you're going to give me information on brain and cognitive, peer and social development. Remember that you will be comparing your responses to the adolescents. And so just kind of be mindful of that. You do need to be at least 4 years older than the adolescent that you are observing or interviewing. And then if you have the adult ones, they're basically the same assignment. So you could pick an adult or later adulthood and you would answer those questions, which I'll do a separate video on that. I just want to kind of give you the content of the paper. Now the next thing is you're going to do the summary of the interview observation. So that introduction right here, that should be at least a paragraph, if not more, longer in length. Then the summary of the interview, you're basically going to be talking about all the questions, or if you're doing the child, the observation that you did on the child. Now please note, this needs to be at least 2 pages or more. So I want a lot of detail in here. I want you to describe exactly what was said, where were you at when you interviewed the person that you interviewed, where did you conduct the observation for the younger kid. So I really want to know specifics. I want to know how the child did on the gross motor, fine motor, cognitive, the checklist, the observation, which I will go over all that in another video. And then for the adolescents, I really want to know about the information of the questions. Now with the interview ones, like the adolescence, adult, and later adulthood, I don't want things like question, answer. I want you to flow it into an essay. So if you're asking a question, which I'll show you in the other video, I really want it more of a response. I don't want the question with the question mark and then the response. That's not what I'm looking for. I want it to be in an essay format. So you're putting all the information that you've gathered on the interview into an essay format of about 2 pages in that area. Now I really want specifics. And please note, if you're doing the adolescent one, you have to compare it to yourself. So you need to be sharing with me, no one else is going to see it, just me, things that you felt when you were an adolescent. I'll go over that video in a minute. Now the third part of it is going to be the analysis of the observation interview. So this is going to be a little bit in depth too. So with this, I want you to kind of connect. So all the things that you observed or on your interview didn't match what the textbook or lectures are saying. Sometimes it will, sometimes it won't, and there might be reasons why. So maybe the child had some early trauma or has some issues with like cognitive skills or fine motor, whatever. There could be some reasons behind it. There could be some significance to that. So I want you to kind of connect it. Does it say the same thing? You're also going to need to start addressing the developmental domains. So you're going to give probably about a half-page paragraph on each. So physical development. Physical development is fine and gross. Now, some of it's not going to make sense when we're talking about adolescence, adulthood, and later adulthood. You're not going to be doing physical development for them. You're going to be focusing on cognitive brain. You're going to be talking about family, school and work, parents, social. So all of it makes sense to the assignment that you're doing. But you're going to need roughly about a half a page. Roughly, you're going to be about 3 to 4 pages, maybe a little bit longer, maybe slightly shorter, but I want some detail in there. So you need to connect these developmental domains to the assignment and to the textbook. I want at least 2 sites in APA, if not more. So this is really you're connecting your summary of your interview to what the textbook says in a detailed format. So you're going to be talking about these different developmental domains. Then the next part is going to be your conclusion, well, kind of your last part. In the conclusion, I really want you to kind of start talking about, did this all make sense? What did you learn about this person? Were they on track developmentally? And that's really going to be at least a paragraph in length. You're still going to need to cite, so I need some information. You're also going to have a reference page. So I think I might have a sample on this part. So a reference page. It's the very last page, all your written part. You're still going to have that nice little header. So you're going to say something like observation assignment or whatever. Here you're going to have references. And then you're going to have everything in alphabetical order. So you're going to have like the textbook, Newman and Newman. So that's an N. And you're going to format it like I've shown you on the chapter reflections and everything like that. So all the sources that you use, you're going to put on the reference page. If you just use the textbook, then you put the textbook. If you use the PowerPoint, you're going to put that too. If you use both, you put both of those. So that's kind of what the reference page is. And with all that, kind of the scoring system on everything. I also will need, or I will not accept the assignment, is the consent form. So the young children, 4-year-olds might be learning how to write, so you can kind of do some scribble scrabble. Let me show you actually what it looks like. Nope. Oh yes, I found it down here, sorry. There we go. So with this being said, they're going to have to print their name, allowed my child. So if the parent is doing it, the parent has to sign. The child's going to say it's okay that they do it. So anytime a child seems like in distress, you need to stop. Then you'll need to find somebody else to do it too. You need to have the parent sign it, the child sign it, if they're willing, if they want to do like a scratch or like an X or whatever it is. If they can fully write their name, that's fine. I only need first names, so don't worry about that. You don't need to put last names. With the adolescents, they also need to sign. So they need to sign it too. Now, if you're doing an older child or an adult, I still want them to have a consent form. So just let you know, I still want the adults in there. So they gave you consent to do it. Go back. So where are all the points coming from? Because I think that's more of our concern. Title page is going to be 2.5 pages. I wanted an APA. These have detailed breakdowns here in the little boxes. So your introduction alone is 10 points. The summary of the observation interview is 25 points. So that's giving me all the details that you've seen, heard, what their responses were, not in a question and answer format, in essay format. You're going to start doing the analysis where you're comparing what you observed to the textbook. And then you're going to have your conclusion, are they on the right path? Are they kind of having some deficits in there or some things to improve on? Just conclude what you learned, what was interesting, things like that. I do need the parent consent form or the consent form. I'm going to be looking at APA format, citing, APA title page, reference page, all that. Citations, I want a minimum at least 5. You should kind of do more. An APA reference page, and then it's 100 points possible. So if you want more details to kind of show you down here. And then I'm going to do a separate video on all these.